Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I know that you're used to me being in Japan documenting time attack and not casually driving a mountain road in California, but while I'm back home during the summer off season, I thought that I'd start putting together a video series covering the work that I do to my personal cars. I get quite a few requests about this, and since I've been documenting the slow progress of the ISF anyway on the website, I thought the move to video might be a nice addition. In the first video of this series, we'll be taking care of some long overdue maintenance on the S2000. This AP2 has just over 100,000 miles and is in need of some new suspension components. The original struts needed to be replaced, so I picked up a set of low mileage KW V3 dampers locally. But after inspecting the car further, I found that the tie rod ends needed to be replaced, along with the sway bar end links, both front and rear, and lower ball joints. Since this is mainly my wife's car and isn't driven that often, we went with some generic OE replica parts from Rock Auto. I've had decent luck with some of the more quality manufacturers on Rock Auto, and this car rarely sees the track, so these should work just fine. Although the machining on the end links does look a little sus. So now that we have all the parts we need, let's get the old parts off the car. I guess now's a good time to point out that these videos aren't going to be tutorials or walkthroughs or include any intricate detailed information on what needs to be done when you're taking parts off a car or putting parts on a car. They're more of just a way for me to document what I'm doing to my own cars and sharing it with anybody who's interested. I was actually still actively moving to the garage while filming this, so you can kind of see how unorganized everything is. I found this really poorly installed amplifier when I moved the rear trunk panels to get access to the struts, so I took some time to mount it properly and clean up some of the wiring before continuing. After I had the struts out, I used a ball joint puller to remove the tie rod ends and the front lower ball joint so I could replace them with the new parts. The coilovers I purchased already had OEM S2000 top hats installed on them, so there's no need to remove the top hats from the original struts I had just removed, which is nice because it saves a lot of time and the need to use a spring compressor, which might be my least favorite tool ever. Normally I would go through the trouble of adjusting the bump stop on these, but since they came off an already set up AP2, I didn't bother. While I had the car up, I also replaced the old cracked NVIDIA exhaust that was on the car with a stock unit. No offense to NVIDIA enthusiasts, but I just don't like the sound of that exhaust. Once all the new parts were installed on the car, it was time to put the wheels back on, get it on the ground, and adjust the ride height. Now that we have some base measurements, I can get the car in the air and adjust the ride height accordingly. I don't want this car to sit too low, but I do want it to look a little bit more sporty and give it that OE plus sort of look.